By mid-July, FA-62 had received its allotment of 2 Fokker Eindeckers, which were assigned to the squadron's 2 best pilots, Oswald Boelcke and Max Immelman. On August 1st, both flyers were scrambled aloft to give chase to a flight of 10 British BE-2s that had just dropped bombs on their airfield at Douai. When they caught up with the English 2-seaters near Arras, they immediately pounced on the rearmost machines, and although Boelcke was put out of the fight when his machine gun jammed, Immelman pressed home his attack. After pumping nearly 450 rounds into one of the bombers, it went down in a steep glide and came to rest in a field. Following the British machine down, Immelman landed alongside his first victory and promptly took its pilot, Lieutenant Reed, of RFC No. 2 Squadron, prisoner. Upon examining the downed BE-2, Immelman counted 40 bullet holes. The victory had hardly been a case of either advanced tactics or great marksmanship, and the Dresden native immediately went to work on improving his performance in both these areas. 2 weeks later, Oswald Boelcke scored his first victory in an Eindecker, when he shot down a Bristol scout on his own side of the lines. In mid-August, the Allies launched their Greater Artois campaign along a broad front that included offensives at Loos, Vimy Ridge, Arras, and Champagne. This was to be the largest Allied offensive of the year, with British and French airplanes kept busy working on the German side of the lines. For the new Fokker Eindecker pilots, it was a great opportunity to refine their tactics in the air. Max Immelman devised a maneuver that would allow him to rapidly change the direction of his aircraft without sacrificing height. After making a diving pass on a foe, he would pull his plane up as though performing a loop, but instead of continuing through the arc, would roll out at the top and suddenly be flying at the same level in the opposite direction. Even today, this maneuver is known as the Immelman roll. No flyer was working harder to pioneer techniques in aerial fighting than Oswald Boelcke, and his tactics would eventually come to be adopted by Jagdflieger, or hunter pilots, the world over. Boelcke applied a methodical approach to the problem that included equal parts trial, error, and theory. One of Boelcke's conclusions was that attacks against enemy planes should always be conducted from behind the enemy and with the advantage of height. Whenever possible, he maintained, attacks should be carried out with the sun to one's back. It was a simple but effective rule to be followed, and by the end of the year, posters began appearing in Royal Flying Corps mess halls, reminding the British crews to beware of the Hun in the sun. Through the autumn of 1915, both Boelcke and Immelman continued to refine their tactics, and by the time the year drew to a close, they had each achieved ace status, having shot down 5 aircraft apiece. Boelcke had by now been transferred to a squadron stationed in Metz, and in October he shot down a French Voisin that had been sent to bomb the city's railway station. This victory was won just as the Kaiser himself was arriving by train, and the story of this combat was widely circulated in the German newspapers. Boelcke and Immelman were fast becoming rising stars in the eyes of the German public.